Welcome to season 7 of the It Factor podcast. New stories, new guests. If you want to come on a podcast where you can tell your stories, where you can talk how you want to talk, 7 years in, come on the It Factor podcast. And also, the motto is still the same: to keep changing the narrative. If you're ready for great conversations, welcome home. We back again with another great episode of the It Factor podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jasmin Robinson, and today we have someone special. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jasmine Monk with College Bowling Network.
Yes, indeed. So it's a pleasure to have you. I'll say, how are you doing mentally, physically, and emotionally?
Yeah, mentally, I'm great. I'm in a really good place because I feel like I am serving. I'm a servant
Mm-hmm.
at heart. So mentally, I would say I'm doing really well. But it wasn't always like that. I'm a mom of three, so like that alone, and my kids are within a 5-year span.
Okay.
So that right there is just kind of a lot. Physically, I feel really great. That's just the time and effort I've put in post having kids to kind of get back to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So you said mentally, physically, what was the other one?
And emotionally.
Emotionally, I feel really good. A lot of emotions, but a lot of good reasons for those emotions. And a lot of it has to do with what I call kind of my passion project, which is bowling, probably a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. So it's good things. It's an overwhelming
Yeah,
amount of emotions. I'll say that.
I love that. I love that. And I'll say with that, tell us about the College Bowling Network.
Yeah, so College Building Network. I'll give like a brief snippet. I'll kind of create a storyline here
Okay.
about how it was kind of birthed and how it got here. So just really quick, like a bowler, been bowling since the age of 5. I come from a bowling family,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually a basketball player. Bowling was my number 2 sport, and a lot of people don't know that. They're like, I didn't know. I was like, you wouldn't have known. But I've always bowled on the side because I loved it, and I could get scholarship money for college. So I just always did it. And so when I was in high school, I was bowling some tournaments. I started getting recruited by college coaches. I didn't even know, even though I was bowling like at a competitive level,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that bowling was in college. And so I was like, maybe this is something I should consider. And sure enough, fast forward, I ended up doing it. So I bowled Division I, NCAA Division I bowling at Texas Southern University in the SWAC, which was amazing. And then from there, it's just been nothing but bowling in my life, which has been great. So I've always tried to see like how could I grow the sport. I'm really big on impact, and like I already mentioned, serving. Like, how can I make an impact? How can I make a greater impact? What does that look like? And so when I graduated school, like I was working, kind of started my family, and as my kids have kind of gotten older, I'm like, how can I plug myself back in? Because my bowling kind of died down because I just didn't have time with my family. And I was like, you know what? I was like, college bowling has always been on my heart, obviously. But I also noticed there were still a lot of gaps and opportunities from when I was in school, which I graduated, what, about 10 years ago or so. I'm like, there are still a lot of the things that are still the same, you know? And I was like, I think that's kind of where I want to start. So I just kind of did some market research, started talking to some coaches and people. I'm like, what would you think if you had this? What would it mean to you if like the stories were told within college bowling? What would it mean to you to have some more visibility, some more exposure, right? All of these things. And they were like, we need that. And I'm like, okay. I was like, then it's validated. I was like, so that's what I'm gonna do. So that's kind of how it was birthed. We actually launched 20 this season, the 2025 to 2026 season, but it feels like we've been doing it forever. So that is it's been great.
That's great. That's great. And I can't wait to continue to see the growth from it. And definitely I'll support any way that I can. And I think that it's a great thing because the funny thing is my line brother works in higher ed and I do as well. And he worked at Louisiana Tech, and that was the first college I seen that had bowling. I was sitting there like,
Yeah.
we got bowling. Not saying that I knew some other ones had bowling, but I was like, it's bowling. I know it's a sport, but
Yeah.
really? And that's cool though, because I was like, kids should know that because that's something you can do. You can have an up and up. You get good at bowling, you can get a scholarship, and it's
Hmm.
cool that you want to bring in more exposure because, like I said earlier, every sport needs exposure. It ain't just
Absolutely.
football. It ain't just basketball. It ain't just
Yeah,
baseball. Don't get me
exactly.
wrong; those the major sports we know that, but everybody needs exposure. Especially in the day and time we live now, with NIL and all the other things. Everybody need a piece of the cake.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so definitely.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
So I say, how was your time at Texas Southern University, and also playing on the bowling team?
Oh my gosh, it changed me for the better.
Mhm.
I'm from Arkansas, but I was raised in Dallas. So Houston's about 4 hours. So I wasn't too far from home, but I went on a few college visits. I was talking to a few coaches, but Houston felt like home to me. TSU felt like home for me. It was great. The biggest thing that I really loved, and when I chose bowling over basketball, right? Which to like, let me be clear, like I'm short. I played like the 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to survive in college. Like I'm short.
Mhm.
So it really wasn't just this clear path for me for success as far as basketball. But what I really enjoy bowling in college is that our season is pretty long. It's like from October to like March or April. And I was able to do so much. I was able to go to conferences, focus on my major, do internships, do all of these things because we didn't have competition every single weekend. I was able to be involved on campus with organizations. I did so much stuff.
Yeah.
Just the flexibility, right? Just with our schedule allowed me to do those things. So it poured into me. TSU was so great. It's nothing like an HBCU experience. I'm just
Agree.
saying, just saying.
Agree.
It was so great. And, I met my second family up there, my family of choice. Like it was, and I still, I'm still in touch with all of those people and everybody's just doing amazing things. And I pour back into TSU any way that I can. Like anywhere I go, I'm like, hey, TSU, TSU, because it was just really great for me. And Houston is great too. So it was awesome. It really was.
That's great, man. I say ain't nothing like a HBCU.
Oh man.
I got to go to Clark Atlanta University myself. I actually grew up down the street from a HBCU, Fort Wayne State University. So I've been around some HBCUs, and
Nice.
I always say there's some good colleges and universities out there, but ain't nothing like a HBCU. So I
Nothing
applaud you
like
on
an HBCU. Yeah.
that. So,
Agreed. Agreed.
indeed. So I say, what is your it factor? Why do you do what you do?
Man, that's deep. I would say, I mean, I kind of touched on this. It's the impact for me. I'm always, how can I help
Mhm.
other people? I feel like I have a little bit of a gift. I feel like I help people see the best in themselves when they don't even see it. And it just takes somebody to have some confidence in someone sometimes, although they have to have the confidence in themselves, right? In the mindset,
Mhm.
sometimes just planting that seed. Which I've learned over the years is important. Planting the seed, it goes a long way with just kind of being that starter and that igniter. So, I would say that's it for me. I love meeting people. Like one of my superpowers, I would say, is really building relationships. And when I'm meeting someone new, I'm like, I'm really digging in and asking them the questions that probably the next person didn't ask because I truly care and I truly want to know what's going on to see how I can make an impact on you or just kind of what you have going on, right? And then it kind of causes this ripple effect, right? So, I would say, I would say that that would be my it factor, really seeing the best in people, just trying to see how I can impact them directly or indirectly. That's the thing, right? That a lot of people don't talk about is it's not always direct. Sometimes it is indirect.
Yeah.
It just falls that way, but it still counts. So
I love that. I love that. That's one of my core references, but been doing it 6.5 years now. And to be very honest with you, I love the people's answers, man, because it's cool to ask that because, of course, it's the name of the show, but it's also dig a little deeper. Like, hey, why do you do what you do? So thank you for that.
yeah, that's a good question.
Thank you. Thank you. So I say, who is Jasmine Monk outside of all you're known for?
Oh, Jasmine. Jasmine is the ultimate mom and wife, and she's the one that'll keep you on your P's and Q's.
Mhm.
Very resource driven and always trying to see how I can it kind of going back to what I was talking about with like helping people and the impact, when I meet people, like it's like you're a part of me now. So especially if I'm making known that you're a part of me. So when I'm out there in the streets or out there in the world doing the things, you're a part of me. So if I see something that will benefit you or that's advantageous for you, I'm
Mhm.
gonna call you, I'm gonna text you if it makes sense. If I need to introduce you to someone, if it's something that I saw scrolling on social media, like I'm that one
Mhm.
that I'm always distributing. I'm like, hey, oh, I saw this, and that's just how I am. That's just how I work. So I would say that that's a big part of me. I'm very consistent. I'm dedicated, motivated, all the things with anything that I'm say I'm set out to do.
Hmm.
For example, I have 3 kids, but that doesn't stop me from waking up to go to the gym at 4 o'clock every day.
Okay, now.
That's the only time I can get. That's my time. That I'm so locked in on it now. When I first started it, it was very hard to do. But now my body doesn't know anything other than to do that because that's what I've dedicated myself to. So when my mind is set on something, it's like all the distractions, right? I've got my blinders on to do the thing. So I think that would be something else people would say about me. Of course, bowling. I would say I was a pretty decent bowler. Still am. It's like kind of riding a bike. I can come out there and shoot some high games. So definitely bowling is a part of it. But just an honest person, I would say people will say I'm honest too, and that I always like put other people first because I do. I'm like, hey, as long as y'all are good, like, don't worry about me. But what happens with that is I always get taken care of, and that's a blessing that people always take care of me, even when I don't ask for it. I'm like, you don't have to do that. They're like, no, no, it's good, and I'm like, please. So I would say that's probably kind of like my makeup.
Love that. I love that. I'll say,
Yeah.
you say you had been bowling since 5, right? 5.
hmm
I'll say, what got you into the sport of bowling? Like, was it your parents first, or like, how did it go?
My grandparents kind of started it. They were just doing it for fun.
Hmm.
And then it turned into they were bowling for money. And
Hmm.
that's how they paid for my mom and my uncle to go to college because they were bowling
Oh,
nationally.
wow.
Yeah, making money and doing that whole thing. And so it just kind of, I watched my grandfather, spend a lot of time with him. And I was like, I like this, Papa. Like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, again, I play basketball. So, we have in youth bowling, we have what is called like a smart account. And it's basically like when you win tournaments and things like that, you get the scholarship money and it goes in that account. And so I was taught at a very young age, about that. And I'm like, oh, I was like, well, I want to put money in my, 'cause I grew up in a single parent household. So I'm like, oh, I'm thinking ahead. I'm like, I want to put money in my smart account to, help my mom so she didn't have to pay for my school, that type of thing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much how I got started. But I was the one in my family that kind of took it to that next level, and I didn't even, and I'll say this, like I was raised in Texas, went to a high school in Texas. There is high school bowling here in Texas.
Hmm.
My high school didn't have a bowling team.
Oh, man.
So to kind of put things in perspective, right? I bowled, number two sport, I bowled competitively, youth and all these tournaments and stuff, and I was still able to get recruited to bowl Division I, and I didn't even bowl in high school, which is kind of unheard of, but in our sport, it's kind of a unique recruiting situation as well.
Hmm.
But it's a whole thing. But yeah, I'm the one that kind of took it to that next level. And yeah, I will bowl on Saturday mornings. I will bowl
Yeah.
tournaments, like, just anything I could that I had time to do, I would say outside of like basketball stuff. So
Gotcha. You so humble in that because you like, I ain't even have to do it in high school. They just came to me. They'd come to the house. They was just at the house like, hey, can you come bowl for us? You like, I guess so. I guess I come bowl for y'all. That's a
yeah,
blessing. That's a blessing. But
yeah.
I can get how it's unique. But yeah, you good. You can download now.
You know,
You done
okay.
beat people in the family. You done beat friends of the family. They ain't know you could bowl. You just came out there and beat them.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was so funny because when I was dating in college, like
Yeah.
they'd be like, yeah, that's one of the bowling, I mean, one of
Mhm.
the dates, right? Let's
Right.
go bowling. Oh my gosh. I was tearing them up. I'm like, I wouldn't say anything. I'm like, yeah, let's go bowling.
Uh-huh.
Lights out, shooting lights out.
I was gonna ask that. I was gonna ask that because I can only
Yeah.
imagine. You met your husband, like, yeah, baby, listen. That's the first,
Yeah, let's
yeah, that's
go
the first couple
bowling.
days me and my wife went on. Like, okay, yeah, beat her, she beat me sometimes, stuff like that. You up there dominating. I'm talking about 300. You done just started the game. Dumb. I'm like, how did you do? Yeah, I
Yeah.
played college D1 bowling. It's nothing
You
serious.
know, what's funny? My husband doesn't bowl. I've been trying to get him to do it.
Oh
Like, I'm like,
man.
just bowl. I was like, bowling is around you. My middle daughter bowls. I'm like, just come
Okay.
on. I'm like, come on to the other side, but he doesn't bowl, but he understands it. So
Yeah.
he understands, how it works and the scoring and all that stuff. So he can talk about it, but
Mm.
he hasn't upped
Okay.
his game yet.
One of these days he gonna be
Yeah.
there. I say, how do you balance, being a mom, being a wife, work, and also now the college bowl network? How do you balance all those things?
It is It's tough. It's very tough. It took me a long time. So my oldest is 9.
Okay.
So 9, 8, and 4. So it took me a little bit to get here, and I was an entrepreneur for many, many years because that is what was needed for the family. It worked, I was able to make money, be at home with the kids. Like again, they're so close in age, it's just a lot of touch points, just a lot that was needed, and so I was able to feel that need. Um, I had to learn early on just how to time manage, like time man. If I don't manage my time, something's not getting done. That's
Definitely.
it. And so that's huge for me. I have a full-time job. I've got 3 kids. I've got a husband. I have a whole household to maintain. I have myself, and my what I need to do for my own health and wellness, right? And then now, College Bowling Network, time management is the biggest thing. And I have to make sacrifices. I try not to cut too much into my health and wellness. Every now and then it may require a little less sleep, right? I try not to do that too much because I need my rest to be able to be the best version of me to do all the things. So I
Mhm.
try not to just dip into that too much, but a lot of extracurriculars, like I'm not gonna say I don't have a life, but it's because that's what I choose to have. So the
Yeah.
little extra time I have is spent on CBN, on College Bowling Network, because that's what I
Yeah.
choose to do. So, I try to sprinkle in and if I want to do things and get out or just whatever, right? Like whatever recreational things I want to do. But that's it, like time management. So when the kids don't have stuff, I'm like, okay, what gaps do I have?
Mhm.
How am I spending? I live off my calendar. I do. I have a project management tool I use. I have a CRM I use. Like all of these things really help propel me for success, honestly.
Got you. I love that. And I mean, I do the same thing. People ask me how do I do. Me and my wife just had our first daughter in November,
Oh,
and she just turned
right.
3 months yesterday. Thank you. And
Oh, I love
people
that.
like, how you do this? You write a book. You doing this? You doing this? And I said, look, I had a schedule before. I had to make adjustments, but hey,
Mhm.
I just do stuff that I love to do. Like you said, I got to take care of Jeremy, so I can take care of my wife, take care of the kid, take care of the other things, other obligations I have. But you find time for the things you need to do. But again, time
Yeah.
management is the most important thing.
Yeah. You just said something so key, like I could that's like a whole I could talk about that so much. Like you find time for the things that you want to do.
Yes.
People be like, when people say I don't have time or I didn't have time, just tell me you didn't want to do it. Just tell me it wasn't a priority on your
Yep.
list. It sounds better because you telling me, oh, I didn't have time,
Mm-hmm.
like that just it just doesn't sit well with me. So I'm like, you had time to do all these other things, right? Like you knew you had to do this, you just didn't want to do it. So don't tell
Right.
me you didn't have time. So that I'm with you on that. Like
I'm
it's
with
yeah.
it. And I heard it all. But like, you doing that with the newborn? You do? I'm like, first off, my wife, we
Yeah,
can do this because it's two of us. So, like you yourself, I grew up a sick parent home because I always wonder how the hell my mom did all this. But now that
exactly.
there's two of us, of course, it gets some more leeway. So I can come in here and have a conversation while the baby sleep. I don't got to be in the baby face all 24/7.
Uh-huh.
We can balance this thing. But when it comes to other things, I'm gonna wake up early, and if I'm writing, I got to do this. Okay, I got to do this with podcast. I know I got
Mm,
an episode today. Unless I'm gonna be rushing, I can't be that. I got to be most professional person I can be for you.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to find what you love, definitely. So,
Hmm.
so you write it down. You write it down.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone that would love to be in your shoes someday?
Mm, consistency is key. I think that's with anything in life.
Mhm.
I always go back to kind of, health and wellness, right? People are like, I want to lose weight, I want to eat better, I want to be healthier.
Right.
It requires some sacrifices, but it's all about consistency. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a month, right? Like, what are your goals? Be realistic. I would say consistency will get you anywhere in life. You say, like, slow and steady wins the race,
Yes.
right? What's that story with the tortoise and the
Mhm.
hare or whatever?
Mhm.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. And a lot of people don't believe that. And I'm like, okay, there's somebody that I know and it's they kind of have the shiny object syndrome. So as soon as like something new comes in, they hop on it and they're like, and they're going so fast, but then they burn out so quick. And
Yep.
so it's like, it's okay,
Mhm.
bring your levels down, create something that's manageable for you and sustainable for you long term
Mhm.
and be consistent with it. But, as cliche as it is, they say the sky is the limit. You can do anything you put your mind to. It's true. Like,
You're right.
believe it or not, it's true, right? We could talk about you and this podcast and how you planted a seed and started, and look at you now, 6, 7 years later, it's no different. And so everybody can create that story for themselves, but it's just, are you willing to be consistent and dedicated, right? Are
Mhm.
you willing to have the mindset and sacrifice where needed to make it happen? And that's what I think it boils down to just for anything in life, honestly.
You're definitely right about that. You got to take sacrifices. You got to, and like you said earlier, if you love something, you're gonna do it. Like if you
Oh,
love it, you're gonna do it. Like you're gonna
gonna
go
make
out
a
and
way.
do it. You're gonna say, hey, just like you love your kids, you're gonna say, hey, we're gonna make it to this. I
Uh,
got these million things to do, I'm gonna make it.
all
And you
day.
got to look at
Yeah.
that with anything you're doing, and it may look a lot of things will look kind of unattainable to people like the college bowling network. Oh, bowling been around this long. It's gonna be somebody. Yeah, bowling been around this long. What does she think she can do in this son? That what they don't know is you putting in the legwork. People that put in the legwork and take the time to do it. Once it gets to where it's going, you're not. And you get, oh, I'm so proud of y'all. That you like, oh, thank you. You're humble in it, but you at the back of your mind, you like, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been putting in the
Mhm.
legwork, and I'm glad I'm getting some notoriety, but it's more work to be done. That's
Yep.
literally how I look at the podcast too. It's more work to
Yeah.
be done. You know?
I
It ain't
love that.
about me. You know.
Yeah.
So I
That's
commend you
so
for
true.
what you're doing. I
No, I
see it being
appreciate it.
so great. I see it going to some amazing places. I'm glad that you reached out to me. You saw fit to come on the It Factor podcast. So I only have a few more questions. I'll say, when it's
Yeah.
all said and done, and I don't mean death, for a long time, a lot of people think that it's death, but don't mean that, but it could be. I'll say, when it's all said and done, what would you like to be remembered for?
Um, oh, that's loaded. Bowling for me. Well, I want to be known for just that I made a difference. That
Yes.
means something to me. I like to be a part of something bigger, and usually it's so big, and that's just how I am. Some people don't think big, but I do.
Mhm.
And I'm willing to put in the time, the energy, the effort to get to whatever the big thing is, whether it's by myself and no one wants to come, or, hopefully not. And hopefully there are people that are like, hey, like, let's make it happen. But some type of like that, I made a difference. And for me, where I'm at, and because bowling is my passion, it would be with the sport of bowling, specifically with college bowling, of course. Like I want to do the things that I want to be the change that everybody's been talking about that nobody's willing to do. And what I'm seeing right now, which is so interesting, is the lane is wide open, Jeremy. It is so wide open. And it's sad, but it's exciting for me because I'm like, I'm ready to tackle it like head on. I'm like, I'm right here, let's go. And I'm doing that. And I'm like, everybody's always talked about we don't have this, we don't have that. It's one of those situations, but it is wide open. And I'm like, oh, I was like, I got it.
Mhm.
So I would say just making a difference, and really my goal is to help the sport of bowling. And this is like one way I'm going to do it. I have so many more things I want to do. I'm starting
Okay.
with this. I need to get this stabilized and going. But once I do, there's so many more things I want to do because, bowling is like literally the number one recreational sport like worldwide. Like,
Yeah.
and it's worldwide. It's not just in the United States. Like there are other countries that do this sport as well. And so there's just a lot of opportunity and potential with it. And it's just gotta take somebody to be like, I'm gonna be the change. And I'm just trying to plant the seeds to help to be a part of the greater vision, right, on the sport. So
I
yeah,
love it.
that's what
I
I would say.
love it. Look, I want to be part of it too. Help. Let me know how I can help.
I appreciate
My
that.
I give you my number too. I'm gonna send everything. But I'm always open to help people, man. That's what the Impact Podcast is here for. And that's what I'm here for, to
I
help
love
people.
that.
Um, and one of my questions too that I just thought about actually is from your upbringing, from you being married, congratulations on that, and being an amazing mom of three. What do you hope that your kids take from you and your upbringing and the things that you're raising them to be?
Ooh, that's good. So I have all girls, by the way. I don't know if I said that. So I've got all
Oh,
girls.
okay.
So it means something to me. It
Mhm.
means something like I watched my mom, I watched my grandma. It means something for all the things that I do. I'm like, I don't do them for me.
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily, like that's not really the perspective. I was like, I do it because I know I have three little ones watching my every move, and kids, they absorb and they watch. They have their own opinions, they have their own observations, and they're taking in everything that you're saying and doing, and they're formulating. you know, right? And they take a part of that, they make it a part of themselves. But I want them to see hardworking. I want them to see, and this is a big one, chasing dreams, right? Because a lot of moms, which I was stuck in this spot, so I get it twice.
Mhm.
You know, you have your child, and it's just kids, wife, home. There's no space for you. You don't make time for you, sometimes because you don't know how. There's different reasons on why moms don't do that, but I've been in that place where I felt stuck, where I'm like, I was meant to do more.
Mhm.
Or I mean, where it was times where I thought like I was meant to do more on this earth. Like I know God, like being a mom is such a blessing and a wife. Yes, I was like, but I know that I'm destined to do more.
Yeah.
For example, I tried the stay-at-home mom thing, and I'm like, can't do it. I
Mhm.
can't do it. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't a fit for me personally. But what I want my kids to see: hardworking, chasing your dreams, don't ever stop, mom or not, doesn't matter what you're doing, like go chase your dream. I want them to see that. They're seeing it in live time. I was a business owner for about 10 years. They saw that too, that, and it's a different type of schedule, right? Like not working for someone, but you work 24/7 when you're running your business because you're
Yeah.
responsible for all the things. And so I was in marketing and doing systems and that type of thing. So they saw that firsthand too. They were the first ones on my like ads and commercials when I put them out. They were the ones saying, "Mom, go mommy." Right? And so they may not really understand it now, but when they look back, they'll be like, "Wow, my mom did this, she did this, she did that. She took care of her health and wellness. She made time for that and still, was able to raise us as well." And so it's so many things that the reason why I do the things I'm doing is really for them and so they can see it. And I want them to know they can be strong and it's okay to not always be strong, but it is okay to have an opinion and to stand on your own 2 feet as well. It's okay to do that. And so there's a lot of things when it comes to that. And it just means that much more to me because I do have all girls
Mhm.
and I know that they're watching them like, they're gonna be maybe moms one day, they're gonna be young women one day. And so I think about when I was a kid and I was watching my mom and then just kind of my matriculation right into adulthood and what that looked like. And my everyday activities are a reflection of what I want my kids to be and see what I think is best for them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
I love that. I love that. And they got a great mom. They got a great
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was like, I do my best. I do my best.
mom. I'll say, do you happen to have any questions for me?
Um, mm, that's a loaded question. Um, I would love to hear a little bit more about kind of why you started I did a little research, but I kind of want to dig in a little bit into why you started the podcast because, they say that you start any business after 2 years, like if it or 2 to 3 years, if it could stand on its own 2 feet, it's like you've got something. So what was kind of your reason for starting it, but also maintaining it? And then what are the plans for the future?
Yeah, so literally started in 2019, a little bit before what 2020 was COVID. So in starting it, I was at my apartment with my friend and he does media. And we was sitting there, I was like, man, I should do something to get back. I don't know. But before that, I was in college. I think either sophomore year, senior year, I can't remember. But I literally was like praying to God, like, hey, if you get me through this class, I'm gonna do something to get back. And mind you, I did it. I joined my frat. I did all type of stuff. Graduated. All these good things, right? You're doing it, but it's like God kept coming, like you still ain't did it. What's going on? And as time went, um, it just kept coming up. So we had this conversation. We was in a room just talking out stuff, and he was like, "Man, you should start a podcast. A lot of people. You should do it." And at first, I was just gonna be doing people that were in tech. And one day, once I started doing that and getting the people, that was cool and all. But I was sitting with my mom, and my mom was like, "Hey, you should interview Mario Shaka." It was the first black official in the NFL and a woman. And she was sitting there, and my mom was like, "You should reach out." And years later, I interviewed her, and I was like, "Dang, I'm really doing what my mom said I should do." Then I started interviewing more people and stuff that was outside of just the common day people, some famous people, all type of people. To the point now, people reach out to me, and I said that the crazy thing is, what if I stayed in that box of, hey, I'm just gonna interview people in tech, stay with this. But I'm
Mm.
thankful I had a mom now, my girlfriend, then my wife now was like, hey, you should do the same. And people kept telling me that. And in the midst of doing that, God continued to bless me in the midst of all that. Because that's the reason why it happened. I started noticing it wasn't about me. At
Yeah.
first I was like, I got to get the views, I got to do this. But you can look at me now in season 7. It's totally different from season 1. I'm like, okay, I posted it. The people liked it. I shared it with them. All right, cool. We good to go. That's
Uh-huh.
it. I'm like, I'm not like as prone to it. I'm glad of where it's at. And I used to say I wanted a TV show and all this stuff. I want to be able to do this. To be very honest, I'm glad where I am right now.
I love
And just thankful for the next show with the next amazing guest. So that's what I'm looking forward to continue to do this and tell people stories. To be able to tell some of the people's stories I never thought I'd be interviewing. So even when you probably see my page now, I'll like tag somebody. Like right now, I've been big on Taylor Townsend. I'm watching her play tennis and things of those nature. And I'm like, the day I get to interview her, if people only knew how long I followed you, like, hey, supported it, I'm like, I just want to see you win.
Yeah.
If you come on my podcast, I'm not only going to support you, I'm going to continuously support you. And whenever something come up and you need me, I'll show up. Even earlier in just 2026, I was able to go plant a seed, like you said earlier, to go see a girl play basketball that I've been saying I'm going to go see her since she was at Howard. Me and my line brother went all the way to Wisconsin. We never thought we'd go to Madison, Wisconsin. But we
Wow.
traveled because we stand on our word. I'm like, hey, if I can do it, I'm gonna do it. And
Yeah.
she dominated. She broke records in that game. And I
Wow.
ain't gonna say it's off me. It's just off the strength of God. I'm gonna say, hey, you poured into this person. Let me go and show what else they can do.
That's
So
it.
it's
That's what
so
it's
cool
about.
to see the podcast, do what it has done. And over time, I learned that that's what it's about. It ain't about, oh, I gotta get T-show. I gotta do this. No, it's like let's live in the now. And it's gonna happen how it needs to happen. And like even interviewing someone like yourself, Jasmine, like reaching out to me meant a lot. That means a lot when people just. That's why I always ask, like, how you find me? Love me? How you found me? Like, who was I interviewing? Who was it? Like, wait a minute. I was like, it's actually working. I ain't have to do this. Okay, I did, and it's like it just worked. So I'm thankful to even be able to interview someone like yourself because what you're doing is changing the narrative and you're stepping into a zone that you said it's multiple lanes. You can kill it. I did the same thing with podcasts. You see what podcasting is now versus 2019. Not to say I'm the first to do it. Pretty sure it was podcast and radio way before me. It'd be podcast radio after me. But no one can be me because I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I just
Mhm.
want to be me, and I reach out and follow the guests. And I really will show up like a month, 2 from now. Our show will come out and I'll still reach out. Hey, Jam, yeah, how you doing? Yeah. You said you needed me to do what? You said you selling sweaters. You said y'all in so you in Atlanta?
I
And
love
I'm that
it.
person. You got to be that
I
person
love
for people
it. Yeah.
to show them you're not just an episode. So that's what the If Factor podcast is. And I'm glad to have you as a part of
Man,
it.
that's good. I love that. Thank you for that. No, that's so good. I think we embody a lot of the same just core values and just life. Like just the way you do life is a lot of the same ways I do life. So I appreciate that. And I love it. I am very, very thankful and honored to that, you allow me the opportunity to come on. So I really appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. That's it. If you don't have anything else, that's it. That's the show.
I love it. I love it.